Hello, everyone. Pat Down at MMA back with another DWCS breakdown, episode 18 of my breakdowns, where I'll be taking you to a bantamweight fight between David Martinez and Xavier Franklin. Going to be kicking things off first with David Martinez out of Mexico. So Martinez is 5'5". He fought in Combate Global, and he is a 10-1 professional record. 9 of his 10 wins come by knockout, the other one being a decision win. And he's also fought 3 times in the same night, winning a 3-night tournament in Combate Global. So that's also another really cool thing. Martinez is so fun, and he's just one of the more entertaining fighters, I'd say, on this season because of just how fun his striking is. His speed is like none other. It's really like none other. He moves so quick, just constantly moving so fast, circling, and has ridiculous footwork. He evades strikes using his footwork, and in turn has good striking defense because of how well he is at just getting out of the way of strikes. Martinez just never stops moving, and his striking game matches his style because his counters, his pressure, his striking off the back foot, even all his elements of his striking are very solid. Even his range striking, he has solid weapons there. He is everything you'd want out of a prospect that has the striking background. Martinez is great at staying patient and waiting to make the right read, find the right shot, and then land it and finish the fight. He has some massive, massive power, and he just needs to find one shot, and the fight will be over if he lands it where he wants it to. With that said, though, he has a lot of power because he puts basically everything into his punches, which is great, but it does tire him out a little bit towards the end of fights. He has good cardio and he has went 5 rounds before. It's not really a problem. It's more just his volume does slow down. He doesn't have the highest output later on in fights. Martinez also has a very dangerous and very exciting kicking game. Spinning back kicks, constantly throwing the side kick, front kicks to the body. He has an amazing kicking game with some devastating power along with it. With Martinez, since he's only 5'5", he does have to kind of rush in to close the distance, but since he is so fast, he usually finds success in doing so and hasn't really had any trouble in doing it. He has a beautiful left hook, especially to the body. He loves to rip that left hook to the body, and it's a power punch to the head as well. He can put people out with it to the head, but he just has so much power in his right hand. His right hand is like the real, like, game-changing power shot, power hand, I guess, that he has. Martinez also has some really solid head movement because the speed just translates with his head movement for sure. And there are times when Martinez does leave his hands a bit low when he's throwing these shots. He's kind of throwing them from his hip sometimes, but he does generate a lot of power from his hip, to be fair. He can be a bit repetitive with his combinations as well, kind of throws a lot of the same shots on the feet, but they're so effective and so good for him that I wouldn't understand why he would try anything different. Martinez also knows how to pace himself over 5 rounds, over 3 rounds even. He knows how to pace himself throughout a fight and not drain his gas tank so that he's severely gassed at any point in the fight. Martinez also has some pretty solid grappling defense. He does not want to be on the ground, and he won't be on the ground if he can control that. If he can prevent the takedowns, which he usually does, has some pretty good takedown defense, then the fight won't be on the ground much at all. And Martinez will give up bad positions on the ground if he does get caught on his back, just looking to get up and escape out of those positions. He can stay alive for most part, though. He doesn't really face too much danger on the ground and then usually works his way back up to his feet. But Martinez is a very solid fighter and a very entertaining prospect for sure. So moving on to Texas is Xavier Franklin. Xavier Franklin is 5'6" with a 5-0 professional record in MMA. He fought in Peak FC and has a great wrestling background, but really has evolved his striking over time and become a more well-rounded fighter that honestly looks to stay on the feet a bit more. He has some very quick hands, very fast feet, and some very twitchy feints. He has a great jab, a very good power straight right, and that's what he likes to throw a lot. He's always throwing the 1-2 or even the 2-1 he likes to throw a lot, and both of those combinations work for him and they're very effective for his style. He does like to get into the inside though. What Franklin's goal is, he wants to get into the inside, he wants to let his combinations go, and he just wants to throw those hands in boxing range. He gets hit a bit too much at kickboxing range because he is small and susceptible because of his height. Luckily, that won't be a problem in the Martinez fight, but usually he does have to rush in and close that distance, but he is very dangerous when he does, and he does have some massive hooks, good power when he rushes in. He has a great left hook that he rips to the body. Oh my God, his left hook to the body is beautiful. It's a shot that could very well end a fight and put an opponent out. And it's also a shot that just wears on people as the fight goes. He's also went 5 rounds as well. So his cardio is where it needs to be. He does slow down a little bit as the fight goes, but nothing that isn't normal over a 5 round fight. Franklin's cardio seems to be where it needs to be. Franklin also has some very hard leg kicks and very good head movement. He is a bit lower volume on the feet though, so he's not throwing in combinations very often, and he's not just throwing punches to throw punches. He's very precise and likes to, attack when the moment's right. Franklin also doesn't handle pressure the best on the feet when people are pressuring him very hard. He isn't reacting the best to heavy pressure, but usually he's able to, get the fight back at his pace. One thing about Franklin on the feet, though, is because of his size, he does get kicked a lot. I see Franklin get hit by kicks way too often. And against a guy that throws a lot of kicks, which Martinez does, it could be a big problem if some of those kicks get through. But he does stay very composed when moving in for the finish. When Franklin's moving in for that finish, he is as dangerous as ever and can really put it on guys. Against the cage, Franklin has some really good takedowns and very solid entries, and his body lock is very good. He usually gets guys down with that if he wants, but he usually chooses not to wrestle for the most part. He'll take guys down and then just stand up and not like and let them up. It's very weird, his style. It seems like he's very indecisive on what he actually wants to do in fights sometimes. He will take the back and choke if you do give it up, and he does have some pretty smothering top control when he does decide to use it. He just doesn't really use it ever. He escapes from submissions well. He's just a solid grappler in general. Like I said, he has a good wrestling background, but you just don't see him use that grappling as much as you would figure. The thing with Franklin, though, in my opinion, is just that he hasn't put it all together yet. When you watch his fights, you can tell the game planning isn't fully there. Just certain things aren't fully there for him. And I'd like to see him continue to evolve as a fighter. I don't know if he's necessarily ready for a test like David Martinez. And for my prediction for this fight, I will be leaning towards David Martinez because I do think that he is just a cleaner striker. He's got more experience. He's a bit more well put together. And I just think he's going to be very dangerous for a guy like Xavier Franklin on the feet. It's very possible that Franklin takes this fight to the ground and wins it there because if he decides to do that with that wrestling background, I think he could very well get a submission victory over Martinez, maybe even ground and pound or something. He could very well win this fight, but he's been staying on the feet a lot in his fights. And if he stays on the feet like that with Martinez, I think Martinez will catch him and knock him out. So give me David Martinez or David Martinez to win the fight by second round knockout. I'll say he wins by like a spectacular second round knockout or something like that because I really do think Martinez is a very fun and legit prospect. So I'm very much looking forward to watching him fight. I wanted to thank you all for coming and watching episode 18 of my DWCS breakdown. Stay tuned. We have 3 more to go for this week. Going to try to pump these out as quick as possible. I know I'm running a bit behind this week, but we're going to try to get there. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.